Yeah, what's up with it? Yeah, with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Season 10 of the Amateur Australian Overwatch Ladder, presented by AOEsports and sponsored by My Republic Gamer. It's week 5, the last week of the tournament, and we've got two Division 7 teams here for you tonight. I'm Stranger, and alongside me is Niki. How are you doing, Niki? Oh, we have a small technical difficulty. Yes, Niki just DC'd out of the thing, so I'll carry it on for us. We've got two teams here. Mytheon Strix versus Divide Overflow. It's going to be a great match. Niki, there you are. Welcome back, my friend.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so yeah, like you said, we have Mytheon, Strix, and Divide Overflow. It's gonna be a bit of an uphill battle for Overflow by the looks of things. But before we jump into that, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, My Republic Gamer. Stay home with the #1 broadband provider for gaming. My Republic offers fixed broadband plans and services that provide ultra low, ultra stable latency connections, optimizing your gameplay experience. Enjoy exciting privileges, special gaming offers, and exclusive access to specialized gamer perks. Make sure you visit myrepublic.net to check them out today.
Yeah, thank you, My Republic, for being our sponsor. Such a great sponsor indeed. Make sure you guys check them out if you are interested. So, AAOL, what is it? It's a weekly casual tournament for the Oceanic region. It's a 10-week tournament split into 2 stages, each stage consisting of a 5-week round robin and some weeks of gap in between as well. It's currently the largest Oceanic Overwatch tournament, so it has 70 plus teams and it's coming into its 10th season. You can sign up individually or as a team when you join. And we're currently in the last week of the season. So if you want to get involved in the next season, it starts on the 19th of September. So check the links out underneath the stream to get involved, join the Discord, and have a chat to the guys in charge.
Yeah, it's definitely a really great experience being a player myself in the past. Even if you don't want to take it super seriously, it's just a blast to have such a good time with your friends just playing video games. And it's really good fun. And we do have people playing video games tonight. As I said, Mytheon Strix and Divide Overflow. I think that a really interesting thing about these rosters is that Hellfire is a renowned Pharah player. And this is just a bit of meta discussion here. But if we've been seeing a lot of Hog and Wrecking Ball, that kind of stuff, trying to just multi-pronged attacks coming from as many angles as possible. And if you have a competent fire player, that's an angle up in the sky the opposition has to worry about as well. So this could create just a real. It should just be really difficult for Divide Overflow to cope with the damage coming in from so many different angles, and I'm really curious to see how they handle it.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you say, Strick's been quite good in the past at that multi-angle kind of play. And with this current meta, I mean, they must just be living it up. We've seen as well from the last few matches, Strix has been absolutely on fire, and Overflow not having such a good time. They've got a lot to prove tonight to try and get some points on the board, and Strix is one of those teams to beat. So let's see how they go.
Yeah, I think we should be jumping into the lobby pretty soon, hopefully. But we have our rosters in the lobby, and we're looking good to go. But a bit more about the meta. I've the Flashbam, who is the off-tank player for Divide Overflow, and as you know, Stranger, at the moment, off-tank is just such a important role in the current meta. Well, based off what we saw last week in AOL, it was the Hog was just such a dominant player on the field, and the Hog just did so much, and it almost seemed like the superior Hog just won the match. So
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how the tanks from Mytheon Strix pair up to that of Divide Overflow and see how much that contest is indicative of the end result.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to working around that Hog. I really can't see it being any other way. I mean, he's just so insane right now that shields are pretty much out. I feel bad for any Reinhardt mains because they must just not be loving life at the moment. But, you know, trying to go outside their comfort zone a little bit, play a different character, like you say, too, off tanks can be quite interesting for matches. The game has definitely felt better than it has for a while. It got a little bit stale there, so I'm liking the change up, honestly, but we'll see how long it lasts. I can already see people starting to get frustrated with that. So we'll see. Tonight, obviously, we're just going to have to deal with a bit of Hog play here and there. Maybe we might even see a team try and pull out no Hog and work around it some way.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility, and we're seeing that teased early from the side of Mytheon Strix and Hellfire, like we said, already rocking the Pharah, feeling confident. But I don't know how I feel about the Pharah here, because Ruins is just such a prevalent map for Widowmaker, and that's just such a hard counter to Pharah. But the composition that I kind of expected is still coming out from the start of Mytheon Strix. Just so many different damage angles coming in. Damage roofs from the Mercy, the Hog and the Wrecking Ball just being an absolute nuisance for the enemy team. And we're rolling out onto Ilias Ruins here, Stranger.
Yeah, good early aggression from Overflow onto the ball, but they have tried to get rid of him. It's not quite gone so well. Down goes the Genji in the back line. Now Strix looking in a great position to push onto the subjective. A few of the Overflow characters hanging around on the point, but as you're saying, look at Hellfire coming around the side, just putting a lot of pressure on them. They find two, there's the third, and the pressure is now on. They should just be able to walk onto the subjective at that point. They get the final few picks, and it's just the Monkey to try and hold it together at the end there.
Yeah, I think that the Mercy player for Mytheon Leating is going to have a bit of a dilemma if they want to pocket the Ashe or the Pharah, and that fight, from what I saw, it was mostly pocketing the Ashe, and it appeared to pay off. But look at the comp on the side of Overflow. They don't really have any hard Pharah counters as such. The closest you could probably say is a Diva. As I say that, Tiger swaps onto the Widowmaker. So this is going to be a real thorn in Hellfire's side. I'm really keen to see how they handle it.
Yeah, that's right. Strix are going to have to be careful now, seeing as though they have that pressure on them. But they still got good pressure on the front line with the Hog. There it is, over the flow into the back there, but it's a great anti-nade to come out. Onto the point they go, though. They have some pressure going on here. The Hog, though, oh my lord. Strix don't really care. They've just left their Hog in the front line, and they're doing absolute work. Chili does not care about that Diva whatsoever. Goes in for another hook. A lot of damage to come out, but they managed to get the Pharah back up on the Mytheon side. So that DPS pressure can continue. Another great minefield onto the objective, and it does do a lot of damage. The point's still in favor of Mytheon here. Can they get on this point and counter it? 50% on the board now. Another great anti-nade to come out. TWL to find the pick out on the Mercy. That's massive. This might be their chance to get on and convert this back. But a spot from the Mythion side to just hop onto the back of the objective. Gets hacked out. Well played there to just deal with the threat before it becomes a real problem. Diva to absorb the rest of it. And they are going to convert this point back. Right here, the Hog, only the one left. Chili just trying to stall for as long as possible. It's the sound barrier is pulled out of them. Oh my lord.
They're going to be wanting that sound barrier back, Stranger. TWL thought that they had to invest it just to secure it, and at the end of the day, it did. But that's such a valuable ultimate to have in your pocket. But I think that a really big hindrance to the comp that Mytheon Strix is running is that they don't have a lot of point presence. But Interuni on the Ashe did a really good job of that, using the bomb ultimate as the EMP goes off, catching 3 people, but the bomb was just contesting the point, being such a bulky target on the point as the fight has already come under.
Yeah, that's right. A good couple of trades on both sides. Not really the team really getting progress here. It's just a kind of a fight off. But as I say, that Strix get a couple of extra ones, so might be able to push themselves onto the point here. They're going to have to deal with that Monkey on the objective. And look at this pressure from Wrecking Ball. Monkey just struggling on their own. Oh, they've actually pulled out the solar hole. That's brutal Hellfire with some BM there to deal with the point there.
Yeah, I think that the fact that Mytheon got 3 players with that EMP is actually pretty good. Because look at the comp from Mytheon. They're playing so spread out. Catching anyone with that EMP is going to be really difficult, but imagine it. But it still wasn't enough. Really nice minefield came in there, and Hellfire just cleaning it up with the barrage as well. It's pretty clean play all around, and the Hog hasn't been as much of a standout as I thought.
Yeah, the team actually haven't really fully relied on it. It has done work though, nonetheless, as they nano boost them to make sure they stay in this fight. The Monkey ult did not have the output that they needed on the Overflow side, I'll say that. And with this Ashe on the high ground, just railing down that damage, they get themselves another bomb now as well, which means they can just completely cover this point. There is just no way for Overflow to get on this right now. It's absolutely brutal as this overtime will tick away. Tiger, the only one, does touch for just a moment, but what's it worth? Sombra now might be able to stall for a minute. Not even, it's a few seconds out of that, and that's all they get.
Yeah, that was a really interesting round. I think that Hellfire was uncontested most of the time, even though Tiger did momentarily go over to the Widow, but it didn't yield much from that pick. And it was just, they need to figure out how to deal with all these angles, and I do not think that Sombra is the right character for that. Yeah, it can isolate someone, and like once they're engaged, especially someone like a Wrecking Ball, hacking Wrecking Ball can be just such an alpha move, really. It just takes away the movement, and it should be both easy ult charge and just easy pickings in general. But I didn't personally see much value out of the Sombra there, and I'm hoping to see potentially something like a McCree that has that long range turn to the fire and still get the crowd control abilities off. And we're rolling out same comps from both sides, Stranger.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed as well that the Widowmaker didn't quite have the value that they wanted out of it. Trying to be able to shut down Hellfire with that would have been great. And like you say, the hacks are just not quite cutting it. Again, I noticed no Hog on Overflow's side. Is that making the difference? I don't want to say it, but maybe it is. The two teams engaged here. Oh my god, Tiger, no, you can't do that in these kind of games, mate. That instantly puts Overflow in a bad position here. As Mytheon just clean up the rest of the side. Oh no, Tiger.
Oh, that was really unfortunate for the side of Tiger there. But the one bright side that you can take away from that, if you're Overflow, is that there wasn't much of a fight, really. So not much ult charges built up from finally cleaning up all those bulky targets, like the Winston and the D.Va. So it's still a fairly ult-neutral game, meaning going into this next fight, there is still a bit of potential, and it's still pretty neutral.
Yeah, that is right. They continue to hold this here, Strix to the point. Fully in their control. Again, very spread like they were before, and it's working well for them. Here's a push, though, from Overflow. Quite a strong one. They get the anti on the Hog. Is that enough to pick Chili up? It will be. That's massive. They get the second pick as well onto the healer, but the res instantly to come out. They get that Hog back in the fight, and it makes a difference here as they just completely destroy D.Va there. Trying to get on this point. Tiger wants to put some output, but just struggling to get on there with so many teammates already missing. The Sombra still just not quite having that output either. Gets Wrecking Ball. They managed to hold them off the point again.
Yeah, the tanks had a really nice dive there. Markson and Flashman went in. I'm pretty sure they got like 2 picks. But the thing is, look at their DPS, the Overflow run. They're running Sombra and Genji. Yeah, eventually that will turn out to be a EMP Nanolade combo most likely. But they just don't have the raw damage to burst down targets like a Hog or a Wrecking Ball, especially when there's something like an Arna that can pocket them as well. This is where I'm really starting to doubt the DPS choices here. But it's still a fight nonetheless, and EMP Nanoblade is drawing ever closer.
Yeah, Hellfire just has so much space as well. Like you say, they're barely even into the point, and they're already so owned up here. The bomb into the back line, they drop the D.Va bomb out. But it doesn't have any output. Unfortunately, the Hog, though, from Chili just absolutely tears through 2 of them and shuts down the push completely. The only one left is the baby Diva, who just gets absolutely rolled through it. The Sombra trying to have some form of output. The Hog Hook will get rid of them nice and quickly, though. See Wrecking Ball up all the way near the enemy spawn. They have to use the Monkey ult just to get up to this objective here for Overflow. Can have a little bit of output, ticks over the overtime, which gives this team a little bit of time to get there. It's a great pick. They boot the Ana into the well. Here's the Blade, countered with the Pharaoh ult, but it doesn't have the output. That's great stuff. Finds 2 on that one. The hack comes out a bit late, but still good. There's the Mercy now. Gotta get rid of it, but she ends up picking up Sombra. No. Oh, the Monkey will come in now and deal with them. They have got Chili here still. Anti-Nate will make sure that they get this point for sure.
Oh, that was such a clutch play there from Tiger. Whipping out the Blade at the last resort. I thought it was over. I was ready to talk about that last fight why they lost it, but they turned it around. But the thing is, they are down at 99%. They have to hold pretty much perfectly from here. And Mytheon have all the time in the world to build up ultimates, but on the bright side, TWL already has a standby online from all the work that he's been doing in the back. And it's just a bit of a scrappy fight coming on here in the small room, and Hellfire is just still raining in terror from above the Dynamics onto the Monkey.
Yeah, they force it out early just to keep that pressure on them. They don't want to let Mytheon get too much room. This is good. It might have split them well. They do put Bob out onto the objective, but it kind of wasted, really. Well played by Overflow to just completely burn that one out. Oh, Tiger, gotta be careful though. Nicely gets away from that with the dash, finds the Pharaoh as well, which means they've got a bit of an advantage here. Mytheon, oh, having to deal with another Blade. Can he find this Mercy? Tiger's hunting. Wow, good play by the Mercy to dodge all that time. Burns basically the whole... Oh, but there it is. The dash to come out will find the Ashe. Some good picks to come out here from Strix, I will say, even through that Blade. And now it's like Sombra has to hold off against this tank, and the Pharaoh's just raining that pain down. Look at the damage to come out. Minefield to just completely shut off that opening there, so they've got heaps of time to deal with the Lucio. They boot them off, and they've half captured this point back already without even finishing the team off. Monkey back into that line, gets the shield down nicely. Hammond to disrupt a little bit. The boop off the edge of the map. They get both supports, so Strix are in a bad spot now. They do find the pick onto the Lucio, but they've got no healing, so how long can they sustain through this fight? Just such great work. The Monkey ult to come out for Overflow. That does put a lot of pressure onto the backline. Hellfire will fall there. But even without the healers, they did really well here to maintain the fight. They do get their Lucio back now. The sustain, this team fight just lasting forever. Another good hack to come out as well. Onto the Hog. Sombra trying to take the Hog on here. Can that work out for them? Another res out from the Mercy onto their support healer there to get the sustain out for Strix again. Pharaoh rains down the pain onto the Sombra, and Hammond just shuts down that front entry again. They almost got this back. And oh man, they're just trying to hold onto this as long as they can at 99%. Strix are in a good spot. They do convert back now. The overtime ticks away.
Close. Those fights are just so scrappy. Like, that fight was ridiculous. It went on for so long. I'm pretty sure the Wrecking Ball Chili on the side of Mytheon Strix. Excuse me if I'm wrong, but I think he got 2 minefields in that fight. And both of them were just placed really nicely at the choke, where you see... Oh, not Chili, sorry. I've got my names mixed up. But they're just there at the choke and just being such a nuisance, and it was placed really nicely to the fact that they had to come back to the point, they had to touch, but they couldn't because there was some minefields in the way, and you have to sort your way around those. And at the end of the day, that little stagger of having to touch to the point was really, really crucial. There's some really nice wrecking ball play all around there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you say, man, Overflow was so close. They pulled it back out of that overtime, managed to hold it all the way back up to 99%. They did well to keep on the point, keep that point control through all that huge team fight that went on forever. And in the end, I think it was just Strix had that continuous sustain, you know, which just absolutely held them in the fight. And like you say, those Wrecking Ball ults shutting off key angles, it didn't help. It was quite funny, actually. Newman, he dropped the minefield there and then ended up punching 2 people instead to get the kill with the melee. So didn't really need the minefield in the end. I think he could have just punched them all to death instead.
Yeah, every bit of damage matters in these comps, especially with, I think, a really key difference between these comps, besides obviously the Hog and basically the whole thing, was TWL opted for the Lucio that whole time, and he was getting it decent chunk of work done, I reckon. And he was just there doing his thing. And despite being on the losing side of that, he got a bunch of kills going on, bunch of damage. The sound barriers weren't shabby at all compared to the Mercy on the side of leading. And there are audio issues apparently. My bad, sorry, I got distracted. But TWL was having a really strong showing on Lucio, and we appear to be going into King's Row straight away. Not much hesitation on the pick of the map there. So Divide Overflow did pick that map. King's Row is not much of a Pharah map, really, I don't think. So I'm interested just to think if they pick that to try and shut down Hellfire's comfort pick. I'm not really sure.
Sure, I mean, the map pick was between Kings Row and Blizzard World, so I mean, Kings Row probably a lot more comfortable for a lot of players. I mean, the map's been out longer and been played a lot more, so probably people are just that comfort pick, as well as this map really supporting those kind of hog plays as well. So I can see why both teams would like this close range kind of fighting. But as I say that, they pull out the Reinhardt here on Overflow side. So
Yeah.
shield.
Reinhardt?
Yeah.
That's Reinhardt on the defense. I understand that they just want to be holding that choke, but Reinhardt is just such a difficult character to play in these days. I am sad myself as a Ryan player, but the thing is, like I was talking about in the pre-show, the comp of Mytheon Strix just creates so many angles that you have to be aware of, and Ryan's shield, it's kind of just stuck where it is, really. And it's really hard to block multiple angles of damage. That Mytheon are already teasing with the Wrecking Ball, Pharah, and a Widowmaker. I'm not sure if the Widow's just an early pick, but we will see that coming into this fight. As Tiger is opting to stick on the Genji, and the Blades have been solid, but other than that, I don't know how I fully feel about this pick, as Mytheon does roll out on the same comp.
Yeah, Hellfire already putting pressure on. I think Flashbang on that Zarya might enable that Genji a little bit more and go into this fight. We do get the Widow putting a little bit of damage around range. I mean, Reinhardt's good for this, but the Genji just peeks out in front of the shield and gets picked up quickly for it. Wrecking Ball into the back line, puts pressure on the objective. They do manage to find themselves a pick out onto the Ashe as well, so Overflow really need to figure this out. They get the res onto the Genji, which might let them find the Widowmaker in the back, but they've pushed them off this objective here. And now, Strix just playing around with them, like you said before, look at the angles they're coming at them from, all sorts of different directions. Reinhardt does not know where to look, where to protect, and the team know they can't rely on it, so they've left him on the point alone. That's brutal. There's Hellfire to find the finishing touches on him. Mercy trying to get the res off, does get the res just before falling there. They're going to have to swing that hammer wildly to get some damage out here. Maybe Tiger can find themselves a pick from the back line. There it is. They take down Chili, but the fire raining down. Oh no, but he gets picked up. Not finding any picks out of that. Oh, Hellfire not going to be happy about that one. And they've somehow put this point back in perspective. I don't know how they've done it. Genji up into the high ground. Widow gets pressured off of it, and that ends up in their career ending. Mytheon going to have to come at this again.
Yeah, TWL was on the Mercy for those fights, and I'm pretty sure he got like 2 reses off, which is all good and well, but the fact that you have to do those reses means you cannot be healing your teammates at the same time. And both times there, Mytheon immediately followed up with a pick. Once it was onto the Wrecking Ball, and once it was onto maybe the Ashe, I think it was, trying to res Tiger. And another engager coming in with a really aggressive play, and Andy's coming through. And I just don't know how they're handling it. Hellfire is still completely uncontested on this Pharah.
Yeah, Newman, another great ult into the choke point. Here's the nanoboost on the Tiger, but doesn't have the blade. He does with the anti-nade! Oh, that is just brutal stuff. He finds the 4th fire, knows it's time to get out of there. Does not want anything to do with it. Wow, that is some great coordination.
Oh, I think that I was gonna say that the big upside is that Mytheon, didn't use many ults, but they did. They used both support ults and a minefield. I know the minefield was a bit earlier on, but those support ults they'd really be wanting back. But because of the mobility in their comp and it's a small map itself and the early spawn, they're able to take so many fights and just be constantly applying pressure as the flux comes out, catching a few people there, maybe 3.
Yeah, finds the healer in the back. That's great. Hellfire does get picked up by the Ashe there. So Mytheon going to have to deal with that. It's a good ball placement. Not on the point, but is in a good position to harass him. Gets put to sleep, though. There is Hellfire back into the fight, so that's good damage. Down goes the Genji from Inter. And Bob, my lord, finds two in the end. And they just get to push them back into the corner here. Strix got to find a different angle. They're getting very split up in these team fights. Overflow's making good use of it. Another great anti to come out. Mojo playing really well on that Ana.
Yeah, I don't. Chili going into that fight popped the gravitic flux on the side of the Sigma. It caught a few players, but the thing is, what do you combo into that on the side of Mytheon? The only thing I can think of is a nano or potentially a blade, which neither got much value. And we're going into the last fight, nearly 10 seconds left. And Overflow have a bunch of ults. Tiger's going to get his blade into the fight if he manages to stay alive as well. This is looking really tough for Mytheon.
Oh, there comes the rain. Hellfire not finding a pick out of it. And again, unfortunately, does end up finding Mark there on the Reinhardt. Another good minefield on the objective. Does put a lot of pressure on them, so they might have a chance to get it here. 2 ticks on the point. There's the blade from Tiger onto Hellfire. Can they pick up a second? It's a blade trade, though. Oh, my lord. Inter just dominating that one. And now we've just got Lucio here stalling as long as they can, but they're not going to do it. Looks so good for Mytheon right now. They get this first point in the final few seconds.
Yeah, I think the right side for Overflow on that fight is that the people that got the bad spawns are Genji and Lucio. They're together, they both have a pretty good move, and they'll be back really quickly. And hopefully with that Reinhardt, they're aiming to hold the corners and take the chokes. So the Reinhardt is trying to hold angles so the Pharah cannot even come around and create any issues. They're just trying to hold there and pounce when they need to. I thought they'd usually play it with an A, but they're opting not to, and TWL has picked up early. That's really bad. Oh no.
Yeah, Hellfire does get traded by the Ashe though, so not too bad in the end. I do feel like Mark is having a hard time with Strix being so good at coming at multiple angles, but doing well nonetheless with that shield, keeping it up. The Genji though jumps straight through. They do find the pick there. It's the laser beam from Chili to pick up the kill in the end. Now this card continues to roll, they find the second tank, so it's going to be a bit rough Overflow here. They're forced backwards, and it's a big ult to come out from the Zarya, which does allow them to clean up the 2 DPS while they're at it. Absolutely brutal for this Ana's just trying to escape, but they won't let it happen, pushing them all the way back.
Yeah, TWL did a really nice job there towards the end of that fight. Knew the fight was done, just was staying on the card as long as he could. He'll get back really quick to Lucio with that hippity hoppity, I zoom zoom. And the grab was also a message from Chili, and I would have liked him to hold on to that. Because look what they could be having going into this fight. They would have had a nano, a blade, and a grab. As the grab from Overflow comes out.
Yeah, they do pop the grab. Chili does, Newman drops the mine in the back to just keep a bit of pressure onto the supports, but it doesn't matter. All the damage is done on that objective. That Bob doing a lot of work. Newman's still coming in. Does end up picking up the mine kill on the TWL, but it's just a bit rough.
One thing that I haven't talked much about in this match is the ultimate economy. And on the side of Overflow, particularly on the Skin Row defense, it's been looking pretty solid. Like going into each fight, they have some ultimates which a plan can be generated around. And it's no different going into this one. But there is a nano blade on both sides, and it's going to be really interesting to see who gets the most value out of the blades. They are both out right now.
Oh, he gets shattered though through the blade, and they end up picking him up, which gives Tiger the opportunity to open up as long as fire doesn't find him, and it won't happen. That's massive. They do get Chili in the end there. The anti-nade to come out. They res the Genji though on the Mytheon Strix side, so the damage can continue. Hammond's still pumping out a lot, but Mark is swinging away on that objective. It's a lot of damage from a Reinhardt swing. Tiger picks up Hellfire with a nice little dash and another minefield. This guy just has these things in his pocket and he just pulls them out wherever he wants. Goddamn. Mark still swinging away like a madman. It's a good Lucio trade there for Mytheon. They pick up the advantage on that one. Gosh, this card is just an absolute mess right now with tanks flailing around. There's the pick out Mojo, so a lot of support deaths there. Oh my lord. Can they hold it? Overflow really losing members here. Strix should be able to walk this last bit up as they just got to get rid of that Tracer, and the Wrecking Ball will hold this. They still keep it going. Oh, Mini did so well to live through that, but no one's going to be able to get there to stop it.
Yeah, Mark put his best efforts there, slamming the blade from Into Uni, who's coming up on another one. Like, as it happened very similarly in Ilios well. These fights are just so scrappy because it's a new meta the fights aren't as structured as something usually that people are comfortable playing. The fights that are so scrappy, so long, and ultimates are just always online as Marksman engages with the slam.
Goes to the slam, but doesn't get the output he wants to. Here's the Genji Blade for Strix side. They find Mark there as well, which leads them into the dash to get Mojo too. That's a lot to get rid of on that Overflow side. They deal to the Hog as well, so they're just going to be able to walk this up as the rest of Overflow have to get themselves in a good position for this final hold.
Going into this fight, I think Miniman needs to play safe and try and hack the Lucio before the Genji, as Tiger and Mojo combo for the Nano Blade. Because if you hack the Lucio, he won't be able to get that sound barrier off, and that's the main counter for this comp. And I really hope that Mini gets to do that, but it doesn't look like he did.
Yeah, the Genji Blade there. Oh my lord, but it's the Diva Bomb not getting what they want. They do find a pickup from the Mines, Tracer to get the ult onto the Hog, which just gets rid of a huge threat nice and quickly. Lucio to find the final touches onto Mark there. So Strix, they're walking this up. Can Overflow get on this? We've seen them pull the final bits out before. Oh no, Flash not quite getting the hook. They want booped off the edge. That's brutal. Mark now on the objective. Gets the shield up. He needs to swing away if he wants to get some kills. Not going to happen. Does get picked up. They do manage to touch for just a moment, but it's the trickle effect, which is just not going so well. They do get the Maywall up, which is good. Can stall some time, but booped off the edge as well. Oh my lord. There's the sound barrier. Nicely done. This will give them a bit more time. The spin to win to come out for Overflow. Let's see if they can find themselves a pick from that. But the Mercy on Strix side just sitting in that chamber, free to just heal away. The sustain is so solid. I don't know, Overflow gonna have to make some big plays. There's the Genji Blade, finds Mark. Can they get a second out of it? Diva Bomb to follow. The Mine's fine too. And Strix just get all the kills they need here. They boot the May away just to get the point there.
Man, these fights are so hectic. I don't know what to say half the time. It's just so scrappy. It's almost just like when you queue up for a 4v4 deathmatch in the arcade. It's just whoever presses M1 harder wins the match. And
yeah,
it was just so interesting. But Newman, as always, came through with some really big minefields there. His just ability to control space on the Hammond is just been so solid. And it's really been paying dividends for the side of Mytheon. I think the bright side for Overflow is that Mytheon only capped in overtime. So if Overflow cap with more than a minute left, it's looking like a very winnable series. Or winnable map, excuse me. And the reason that they were able to only finish in overtime is because there was a really solid hold on point A and B from the side of Overflow. Like, they played around the Rhine really interestingly. And I don't know if I agree with it, because Mytheon, they kept on trying to engage onto the Rhine, who was just getting all the resources committed to him. And I think that they should have tried to find a backline pick onto someone like Mojojo or someone like TWL, but that just wasn't able to actually happen. And Markston on the Rhine was just able to absorb so much damage, and it just didn't end up working out, but they did end up pulling through. As we're coming here, Mytheon on the defense this time, still rolling similar comps on both sides. So I think it's just a mix of comfort characters, and it's a comp that they must have been practicing in scrim throughout the week.
Yeah, well, this Reinhardt will allow them to get much more aggressive. They go through that building there, which will get them onto the subjective nice and quick. The shield actually playing pretty well into their hands here, but Strix on the high ground have got some good positioning, but they're not on the objective. They've only got the Hammond, who's trying their hardest to stay on, but having a hard time, and Overflow are playing their positioning so well to just not give them the right angle. They do find Mark there in the end. Tiger finds the pick, but oh, that's brutal. Gets picked up in the end, so that first push not quite going in their favor.
Nah, you saw the really nice rotation come through Hotel on the side of Overflow. Yeah, you can do all those fancy rotations all you want, but at the end of the day, the squishies that you want to get up to, they were holding up on the high ground where Arc is currently at the moment. And the Rhine is so hard for a Rhine to get up there without it being super predictable and having time for the supports to just rotate themselves. And it's just looking like a bit of a rotation battle. And the Rhine comp wants to speed boost onto a singular target. But with the comp that's being played by Mytheon, who do they speed onto? I do not know who they want to speed onto. They just want to catch someone out making a mistake, and that is not very reliable.
Yeah, they do move themselves again through the building here, getting onto the subjective. We've got TWL trying to find that first tick, but the rest of the team not joining them, so they will get picked up there. Oh, that's rather unfortunate. They're moving in, but just not as a unit here, and it's costing them big time.
Oh, I wouldn't even say that they're not moving into the unit. I think that if you look at the positioning from the Mercy and the Honor and the Ash at the moment, it's just completely uncontested. And Miniman recognizes that, swaps to the Fire, is hoping for some long-range poke, just forcing them out of position so they can get some better value. But into Uni, both fires has just been getting so much done on the Ash with the damage reset, is pumping in the damage. And they can rotate all they want, but they just aren't getting onto the target in time. And by the time that they're actually there, they're already out of ults and out of health, and all the ultimates are online for the side of Mytheon.
Yeah, Mytheon do have to go for the res there. They're going to get the Ana up, but it costs the Mercy it. There's the Ana as well, so no healing for Strix side. Can Overflow make this happen here? Just trying to deal with this hog. They get the flying damage to come out. Mini actually doing massive work now with that Pharah there. They need to get themselves back in the sky. Newman trying to stall the point as long as they can. There's the pick on Mojo though for Mytheon, so they're doing okay right now. They've got the sustain, 2 supports on this point with that Hammond, who's actually getting involved nicely. Baby Diva not quite able to survive through that. Have Mytheon actually pulled this back here? Wow.
That's ridiculous. They invested the ults that they needed to, but they still held on to them. And Newman is, as it seems, always has a minefield in the pocket, and Hellfire falls. I don't know if that's in a resable position or not. Looks like it is. Oh, a bit of a misplaced wisdom bubble there. That was meant to peel for the Mercy by the looks of things, but didn't quite do that. But it doesn't matter. Newman, as always, just being a hindrance in the backline, just being so disruptive, so hard to deal with as the Diva comes onto the high ground, which is what I've wanted to happen for so long, and it finally did happen, and it looks like it's paying results.
Oh, Mini finding a much better ult there. Made a big difference here. They have lots more point control. Another area denial onto the objective. The mine's doing such work. They do get the res out on Mini to get that aerial damage back into the fight, but oh, Newman just couldn't handle it any longer. Mini drops into a mine though, gets picked up. And will Hellfire be getting on this point to contest? They do have Chili there, so they do commit in the end, getting on this objective. They've got the Mercy to sustain. Hellfire finds Tiger. What? Oh, this poison picks up Hellfire after death though. That's massive. Can they get in? Mojo committing the ult to get this objective. They're so close to getting this 3rd tick, but Mytheon's got everything, and they're throwing the whole lot at the board all at once. There's another ult, and it does find Mini as well, which means they actually might be able to hold this here. Oh, Newman finding another one as well. This bot did absolute work. Their position so well here, and now they're just ticking this overtime away. I don't know if Overflow are ever going to be able to get on this. There it is.
2-0. Mytheon goes up 2-0 in the series. And that was, as always, really solid Wrecking Ball play from Newman. Just playing so nicely, just being so difficult to deal with. And it was very, very obvious. And also with that Wrecking Ball, that allowed them to get in that final contest. He's just such a mobile character. We see the really nice grab, nade, and then the blade beautiful. Going into that. Such a sick combo, and there isn't really much you can do into that. You just need to drop your ults and just start thinking about the next fight. But like I said, 2-0, and it is Divide Overflow's map pick again, going into, I think it's Control. Oh, not Control, sorry, I'm 2CP. Yeah.
It's going to be Volskaya or Hanamura on this next pick, so we'll just see what they decide on. Give them a moment. Yeah, massive plays here. Man, Strix pulled it back from some moments where I really thought Overflow had it. I mean, that last bit there, the final tick, they just committed perfectly. The timing was good. Pharah on Hellfire there, he did not commit too early. Just timed it perfectly, waited for the Mercy, waited for the Diva to drop on with them, so they had the support, they had the peel for the damage, and once they were in, they were able to stall it, they got the rest of the team in, and Overflow just, I don't think they were ready. Maybe they were already convinced that they had it themselves.
Oh, big news on the side of Mytheon Strix. We have a substitution coming in. Leet, who has been playing very, very well, is being swapped out for Tilt Queen, who I'm pretty sure is the manager, one of the managers of this team, if I'm not wrong. No, I've made that up. Never mind. But Tilt Queen is our support player, and I thought the Leet was doing really well. So I'm not sure if it's just, I'm not sure what to expect here. Is it playing some support pick that we haven't seen yet, the lead isn't comfortable on? Is it just a team fluency thing? Is it a Hanamura specific strategy? We don't know. Because looking at how Overflow played on King's Row, right? They were playing the Rhine, they were holding those angles and those corners on Kings, which is really good. And the first choke on Hanamura A when defending is a little bit like that as well. So I'm wondering if they're going to do a similar thing. And we'll just have a bit of a break before we hop into Hanamura here, Stranger.
Yeah, Tilt Queen actually being part of the main roster, she must have had something else on, and perhaps Leet, sorry, was filling in. So now we've got the full on Mytheon. I mean, they've already been playing like crazy. So, and if that wasn't their official roster to start with, then this means that they're going to be in even more peak form for this next fight. So, I mean, Hanamura still favors that hog play. I mean, even through the choke on point A, point B, maybe on the high ground, not so much, but that corridor definitely. So I don't know. I still feel like Overflow. They probably need to pick it up. I don't know if they've adapted to this meta yet.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's really adapted to this meta. And I don't blame them at all, because looking at this kind of level, how it usually works is you look for what is being played at the professional level and you make some adaptations to that to suit your particular comfort picks and whatever. And we haven't seen pros play on this patch yet. So it's just it's going in completely blind, going in off word or mouth. I'm sure many your Overwatch videos will watch saying which heroes are best for this competitive season. And it's a lot of hog on I just completely lost myself there, sorry. It hasn't been a lot of hog, which is a bit surprising. I think the more prevalent pick has actually been the Wrecking Ball on the side of Newman, who I haven't stopped harping on about yet. But Overflow is just teasing the Ryan Zarya again.
Yeah, Newman's just got those ults whenever he wants them. Just presses Q at any time and there's just suddenly an ult ready. So they must be just playing out of their minds, keeping that sustained damage output, just letting them farm that ult charge so efficiently.
Yeah, it's been really, really solid play all around. Bit of banter going on in the chat. I was about to make that Bren's Player of the Week joke, damn it. I'm a little bit upset, but that's okay. So we're looking into Uni on the Genji again. It's going to be another Genji duel between Tiger and into Uni, but Hellfire. Tilt Queen's still on the Mercy. So not massive compositional changes, nothing really out of left field. It's kind of same old, same old. It is looking just like a substitution. Mytheon is now in their final form. They have ascended, and I'd be shaking in my boots right now if I was Divide Overflow.
Well, looks like Mytheon teasing their ball through, just trying to get a little bit of pressure out. They get the monkey through, Chili going on that off angle. Just going to make sure that Tiger doesn't feel safe up on that high ground alone. And look how much space Overflow's just had to give now. As they do, again, Strix rolling into the backline with that hammer. It's so good at harassing, just putting so much damage on Newman. Even with all that pressure from the whole team, just rolls away from it, not too bothered. There it is, Strix to get on this objective now. The monkey doing a lot of damage, even with the Discord orb on it. And the rest of the team is able to roll in slowly. There's Int to find one. Hellfire picks up Mark as well on that Reinhardt. So, Tiger's on this point, loses the Genji fight, which is rather unfortunate for him. And look, they've just zoned them out of this objective completely. You want it in this building, you can stay in there. Great sleep dart to come out, will end Mojo in the end, and it looks like Strix will just easily take this first point.
Yeah, that's a very quick first point capture there. And that was solely because they Mytheon, they executed the goal of their comp, looked like to a T. They were, the side of Overflow were stuck in between a rock and a Wrecking Ball place by the looks of things. It was really sandwiched in between those two tanks and is coming from multiple different angles, and the Reinhardt can only deal with one, and marks and realizes that, swaps over to the Winston, going for a dive of their own, and the Nanoblade is coming up very, very soon to the side of Arc. That is very
They do actually pick up Chili there, which is pretty solid stuff to just hold this push off. There's the second onto the Ana as well. Lowers their sustain just a little bit, but Newman doesn't care, just gets the aggression. They force them to use the Zen ult so early there.
Oh, that's really bad, actually. Because look, going into this fight, 6 ults on the side of Mytheon. Oh, Nelly. This is...
No.
Oh, this is the kind of stuff that you have nightmares about, my friend. This is not looking very good at all. The one saving grace is that Mojojo does have the nano boost and looks to be holding his own pretty solidly on the high ground. And the blade is coming out and the nano as well.
Oh my lord, there it is. They just burn every ult all in one go. The monkey ult as well to keep them aggressed out of the point. So much pressure. They deal to the Zen on the high ground with a jump, but Overflow just trying to commit tanks to this point. They do lose Mark there. Zari on the side flash. She just goes down there in the back, which is rather unfortunate for them as well. Ticking up that second tick. They've got to get on the point now. Overflow forced onto the objective, puts them in a bad position. They lose Mojo for it. The Lucio doing a good job to stay on this objective long enough, but will finally go down just as Monkey joins the fight. Pops the ult to try and stay alive. Gets a good Zarya ult, but on the objective, they get the picks off of it. Beautiful stuff. There's the 4. They need to just hold this off with just a tiny bit of tick left. Newman doesn't care, wants to continue the fight. I can take the whole lot of you, he says. Time to finally leave in the end.
Oh, Flash Bam. She came in so clutch with that Graviton Surge just then. And it was just comboed really nicely with Markson on the Primal Raid. They're all grouped up. Those swinging fists are going to hit absolutely everyone in there. And with the jump pack damage landing in there too, there wasn't much of a hope. It was just it was the kind of dregs of that fight. There weren't many resources left to be invested. And that was really present. There's another really quick and dive and minefield coming in from Newman, just forcing down the back, and it's just secured high ground for Ana on the arc on the Ana, sorry, and that's going to be really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, true. I feel like the ult, it did a lot, but they didn't get enough out of it maybe. No ult still in Mytheon's hands, so they're just kind of building back up. But look at them, most of them already up to 80% already. They're going to be looking really good.
I don't think the Mytheon should have given up that high ground. I think they should have tried to hold it with a bit more conviction. Because if you look at the sides of Mytheon, their ultimates are coming up very soon. If they stayed up there long enough, they could have had a Nanoblade and had Ana secure on the high ground to pop that one off. But it looks like it doesn't matter. They're the players, not me. And
they don't even need it.
Really clean. Chili with a really nice Primal Rage.
Well, there's Mark off the objective as well. There's the nano boost onto the monkey, which just means nobody's going to get control. They drop. The Mojo drops their ult. Oh, final bit of tick left for the point here. Will they get it? They just have to get them off this objective for a moment. TWL, though, comes in with the boot, keeping them split. And they're really struggling. Mytheon need to find some picks here. Don't know if they're going to keep the control for any longer. The monkey into the high ground. There it is. Hellfire to drop the pain down. Finds 2 out of it. That's huge. Flash Bam. She does get the pick onto it, but it might be too little too late. Mojo there. Taking out Tilt Queen. She's not going to be happy about that one. But still, Newman harassing so well on the point. These 2 tanks working really, really well together. Another minefield to come out. Once again, that one having huge, huge value. Picks up Tiger there, but he's not going to be able to get any more as they just clean up.
That was a really nice team play there. I'm assuming coordinated by Markson, because he recognized, yoinks, Arc is up on that high ground on the Ana uncontested. If that Ana stays up there, gonna rain in the Bionades, rain in the heals, and Markson went and contested in the middle of that fight, had faith in his team to stay on the point, and it was just really nice play around. Arc got picked off, and then from the rest of the fight there, Mojojo had the heals advantage, and it just turned. As Tiger on the Widowmaker, I didn't even notice, really nice pick there onto Tilt Queen, just delaying them even further. So, as you can see again, Overflow's holding the high ground, which is the right thing to do. You don't want to give that high ground away for free. Anakin learnt that the hard way, and it's just a bit of just feeling each other out, building up some ultimates, trying not to give too much away, as we're just waiting for a full regroup. And you can see Newman coming underneath, looking to just contest the point, not actually engage on the high ground, which I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, smart. Let the rest of the team deal with it, but looks like Overflow will keep control of it. There is Hellfire raining a lot of damage down, though, with the Tilt Queen pocket, that Mercy pocket, keeping them strong in the fight. There it is. Mini gets picked up in the end. Flashbam to take out Hellfire, though, as Tilt goes to res int, which is just brutal, but good timing indeed. The blade to come out does find the Ana there. Can they get themselves another? Good bubble, though, onto the tank there, onto Mark, sorry. And that'll keep them in the fight. They do find Int there in the end. He doesn't get anything else out of that ult. And the High Noon comes out just to zone them off the objective. Tiger getting super handsy there on those tanks, finds himself dealing a lot of damage. And I don't know, Strix not going to be able to get on this point here maybe. They're going to have to force Hellfire onto the objective, but so high up. It's Newman to make sure that the overtime ticks in, and the rest of the team trickling on now. Hellfire just wants to stay as high as possible, keep that damage on. Good ult to come out again. Hammond doing a lot of work there. They have to make sure they stay on this objective. Flashbang making sure that they're on as well. There's another ult to come down, the bubble blocking a bit of it, but they don't find anything else out of it. Markson to go down from the Hellfire shot, and they find a second as well. This is big. There's the fourth pick. This might be all they need. They just have to take out the Ana. Doomfist to get back on the objective, but is it going to be enough to deal with the whole team? I don't think so. Monkey now not going to make it in time.
No, they capped in overtime again. I'm getting hefty Kings Row vibes again as Stranger. They held really solidly on one of those points. And it's a 0 minutes, 0 seconds left in the time bank. So much like Kings again, if Overflow caps with over a minute left, it's the worst they can get is a draw. And that will keep them alive in this series, which I imagine trying to get another win, or just a win on the board even, would be really, really important to them. Because not just going into a match, not having won, it messes with your mental so much. Your confidence is down. The team morale is down. You've almost forgotten how to win, which I think I've experienced it a little bit as a player in both traditional sports and esports, and it's a really interesting thing. So it's just a bit of a mental fortitude here, having to be shown by Divide to stay prevalent in this series. But I think a bit of a shining light on the side of Overflow. We've been harping on about Newman so much, but Arc on the Ana has just been really solid, constantly taking those right positions, those right angles, the right high grounds when is needed, and has just been getting a lot of value out of the nades as well. And similar comp on the defense, nothing particularly special, and I'm dive offense coming out too from Overflow, that is.
Yeah, TWL switching off the Zen from the start of last round, keeping on the Mercy now, so they're just committing to that Pharaoh pretty hard on this. So let's see how they go. A little bit of damage to come out early on. They want to push them off this choke as well. I have faith that they will be able to get this first point reasonably quickly. I like to see that they're getting aggressive early. That's a good bit of damage output early on. They take this high ground now, and Strix actually giving them a bit of space. Hellfire does find TWL there with a good shot. There's it to pick up Tiger as well. So Overflow going to be careful. They don't have a lot left to sustain them, and with that Mercy pocketing that Pharaoh, that's a lot of damage output on these two tanks as they get shoved into this building. They need to be careful about this. They don't want to get trickle killed so late into the fight before the rest of their team can get back in. And the Hammond putting a lot of pressure on them. There it is, Diva now to join that as well. Oh, the boot. Monkey luckily having the dive to get back on this objective. But the two, it's just a tank off right now. There it is. Mark does finally get picked up. There's the flash kill as well. Just tank on tank action, and Mytheon showing their dominance on that. So the rest of the team going to just have to wait. They need to be careful. They don't want to trickle kill here as well.
Oh man, I feel really bad for Miniman at the moment, because you not only are you playing into a Pharaoh who is renowned to be very, very solid on the character, but you're also playing into an architectural disadvantage. Because Hellfire is on the defense, he has just so much more room to work with, and he can take that side of the choke when needed. But the Pharaoh's looking to be already really, really deep here, and the fight's just really, really split off. Newman's all the way in the background, and a bunch of picks have already gone down.
Ooh, Hellfire to find 2 out of that, which is pretty huge. Now it's just Mercy on this objective. Probably best to just go in and die. There it is. And they will have to reset now. But yeah, man, they lost their Ana so early into that fight. It was pretty bad. They kind of left. I don't know if Mojo got left behind or just didn't commit with the team push and got kind of picked out separately.
Yeah, I think the rest of the team went in for the engage, and the Zarya bubble was probably invested onto the Winston of the Genji, and the Ana was just left sitting in the choke with his pants around his ankles. And Newman on the wrecking ball capitalized that as always as another minefield comes through.
Ooh, finds himself a second pick as well into Tiger, so DPS completely shut down. So it's up to the tanks to just put out that damage again. TWL getting caught off. Ana again, Mojo out on their own, taking on the Pharaoh 1v1. And it ends up being the Ana to seal the kill there on Strix's side. Oh, Flashbang not able to take that either. So again, another reset with a minute 20 left.
Yeah, I think Mytheon on this defense have had really solid ultimate economy too. The fight before, they only used the Nano Boost and the Barrage. This fight, they were forced to use the Mercy ult, which I'm pretty sure they didn't want to use. But Till Queen, she felt she had to pop that, and she did. But they still have a bomb. They always have an ult on the field, and that's always something you can work around. But there are also ults on the side of Overflow. Tiger notably with the Blade. No real defensive ultimate counter, and the dive is strong.
Yeah, gets a nice pick there. The Diva Bomb to come out from Chili, desperate to find the kill, but doesn't get it. That's a good, nice little ult just to zone them out of it, but they've still got Newman at the back here. The pain rained down. They find double kill out of it just before she gets taken out. Hellfire to fall there. Now Chili out of mech. Newman the final one to hold the objective. Can they do it? No, what's the minefield looking like? Nearly there. Maybe a bit more spinning to make it happen, but not quite going to get there. And they will finally get this point with 20 seconds left on their board.
Yeah, the zoning grab. That was a legitimate zoning grab on the side of a flash bam, I think that was. I thought it caught people few, and two, sorry. And it looked like it did. You nearly said it in the cast as well, but it did just force them off the point. It means that they had to wrap all the way around to contest. And now going into B on the side of Overflow, they have a bunch of ults coming up, including a Blade. And if they win this fight, if they snowball this successfully, they stay alive in this series.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, they didn't have to commit a whole lot to that point grab, which is pretty good. Puts them in a good spot here, but losing Mini like that early in, not so good. Now Newman just, again, harassing so aggressively, trying to build that ult up, and has it in hand now. So pushed off the point once again, still harassing Flashman. Oh, but Flashman's had enough. Chases them off around the corner now. TWL gets caught out though in the 3v1 and will go down, so they're going to be careful here. Maybe they can pick up Hellfire on the off angle, but it's still such a messy fight right now. Full ults in hand pretty much for Mytheon. No one really wanting to commit any to these kind of scrappy fights where they can't tell Mark getting picked up on the way out there.
Yeah, but the thing is, with this, look at the ultimates. Oh no. I was about to say that Overflow, they have all the time in the world to just sit back, build up their ultimates, and force out some of the side of Mytheon, and so then they can just engage as a 6. But the thing is, they didn't force any out of Mytheon. And that is such a big thing. Because yeah, you'll be like, oh yeah, we just held on to ults, we're going to press all 6 at once, lol. But the thing is, the other team is going to look like they'll be able to do that too. And they are holding so aggressively on the defense, they aren't even on the point. And that's actually really big. Because that means they'll almost have to re-engage. No, they won't, I lied. But Hellfire was just pushing so far forward on the fire up, and it was just really difficult to do it. And the Fire's out there on their own. Maybe the Diva could get something done here, I'm not too sure.
Oh, they're really wasting a lot of time here. Mytheon doing a good job to just keep them busy outside of this objective. And like you say, still just no need to commit any ults. They know they're trying to burn time here. As soon as Overflow starts dropping those ults, they're going to counter them hard. I think this might be it coming in here. There's the Genji Blade to come out. Overflow trying to find one. Bob onto the objective to stall it, but they find 3 in the end. Hellfire picks up one, and the Diva Bomb gets 2. Tiger still hunting. Does end up getting picked, but not before they find Hellfire. The Bob on the point, the saving grace for that Mytheon as they just clean up Flash Bam. And they still didn't even need to commit all their ults to that.
Oh no. There were a decent amount of ults invested there on the side of the defense, which is pretty good for the side of Overflow, because they'll be able to come in with a pulse, both tank ults and a sound barrier. I think the sound barrier is really big. I think in this fight, TWL should look to use that sound barrier aggressively, just accommodate the tanks, allow them to go extra ballsy, and have just an extra life, as the bomber gate is really solid.
Ooh. Does find Till Queen in the end there, though. The pressure on Flashman on top. There's a nice Tracer Bomber, ends up picking up Hellfire. They get rid of Arc as well, so they might have it here if they can just get rid of Chili. Oh, the Ash, and he's trying to get back up onto the point. Wrecking Ball does get in to pick up the overtime. They got to get rid of that Mercy if they want to win this one. Just living through it. There's Till Queen. She does get taken down in the end, though. Hellfire back onto the point, no longer on the Pharah, pulls out the Tracer instead, but Tiger just dealing to it. Mojo, the one to find Hellfire in the end there. Nice pick. They get rid of Arc as well. Good pressure. They're sustaining this really well. Can they get it? They only need half a tick to go. The Diva Bomb to come out for Hellfire's side. Not finding the pick that they want here. Good ult here. Oh, but look at them go. Strix just staying alive so well. Another minefield onto the point. It's great. The Blade needs to find some kills here. Does end up getting Hellfire in the end there. They're finding good picks, but they're just respawning so well on the south Strix side. There it is, though. Get rid of Newman right now when you've got this in the bag. That health bar trickling down slowly. Does get booped off. There it is. They will finally pick it up nicely.
Ooh, we got an extra innings on Hanamura, Stranger. That was a really solid hold on the defense. That was just really well done. They ground down a decent chunk of time, to be fair. And
Yeah.
Newman on the wrecking ball. We're going into that last fight. It looked like Overflow had it in the bag, and I found myself looking to the top corner of my screen, saying, "What is the minefield percentage on Newman?" Because I'm just so used to him clutching these fights. He's done it all series long. Why shouldn't he do it again? But at the end of the day, is really solid Diva Bomb engage on the side of Flash Bam, and it is caught out Till Queen on the Mercy. Couldn't quite get around that corner into that little health back room. And that Mercy pick was really vital, because then the res is out for the next, like, what, probably 10 seconds on the respawn? But the thing is, with those fights, the dive was pretty scrappy. Like, it wasn't a super clean dive.
Yeah.
And because of that, they're getting picks and picks at a time. And because of that, there's constant waves of respawns going on to that point on the side of the defense. So they decided to get a decisive, like, 3 or 4 man kill just at once, just to slow down that respawn wave. And it took them a while to do it, but they eventually did. We're seeing our first taste of Baptiste this series, Stranger.
Yeah, Mojo was playing Arnold, I believe, before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so looks like they're going to mix it up. And TWL wants their chance at the sniper rifle, and so Mojo staying with the hit scan kind of style, and looks like Strix just going to straight away go for the high ground. Wow, Hellfire picks up a long-range shot onto Tiger, which is massive. 40 seconds only to make this push, so they're going to have to be smart about it. Use this man advantage. Newman getting aggressive again. They do find Mojo there. Hellfire doing so much work right now. Gets the third, which should just let them get onto this point. There's Int to come in and have some play as well. Diva's trying to stay on the objective as long as they can. TWL healing as long as they can, but not going to last too much longer after that. That's a fast first objective for our boys.
I don't know what Overflow was wanting to happen with the Baptiste there. Like, I understand that ultimate, the amp matrix, does come up pretty quickly, but I'm not a massive fan of that, and it looked like the lamp didn't get much value either, so I think that Mojo is kicking himself a little bit, wishing he played that a little bit better. And we have a full compositional swap again. Like, there aren't many ults, but if there were, like, in this ensuing fight, Mytheon's getting all of them. Closest is TWL on the Ana here. That's a little bit scary.
Yeah, I mean, they did actually lose a lot of ult charge with all those switches. Chili coming in aggressively. They do pick that up nicely by just pulling them apart there. The hog hook to come in. Flashbam trying to find the pick with that. Tiger at the back with the Widowmaker has to find the shot. There it is. Nice little pickup onto the Genji. So the aggression on the point. The hog hook onto Farah takes down Hellfire. And they might have it here if they play this smart and get rid of these supports. Trying to just deal to this Ana as soon as they can. Nice stuff. Again, another minefield to come out from Newman. Just absolutely championing that ult right there. So much ground covered right now. Hulk trying to get back on here, but gets booped off again. Mojo, the only one to hold the point right now. Flashbang does get focused down in the end. Will get taken away. Oh, but they just pushed them off. This objective might be for long enough. There it is. The dive back on. Mark does what they can, but with so much DPS pressure, he can't get it.
Another cap. I think something really briefly that I want to point out. Miniman on the McCree on point B. And if you want to cast your mind all the way back to Ilios, I was commenting on Miniman playing the Sombra, and I just didn't think it was enough CC to stop those dives. And you saw the flashbang get a lot of value onto Chili on the Winston. Just got caught with his pants down on the high ground. And the heals were there from Arc, but it just wasn't enough. So I think that the McCree is maybe something that they should try a little bit more, because at least in that fight, it had a lot of success. But the thing is, they got a few picks, but they didn't get enough. And because of that, Mytheon was able to build up all their ultimates, and because the composition swaps on the side of Overflow, it was just a landslide ultimate advantage. And that, as soon as those ults were online, it was just kind of doom from the get-go there for the side of Overflow.
Yeah, they got the first 2 picks there, and they really just needed to keep rolling that on, but they just couldn't quite capitalize on it and keep it going. They just Strix doing a good job to maintain their health after that and stay in good positioning. So Let's see what they do on this defense. Do you think it's going to be a 0.1 hold again?
From looking at what's being teased on the side of Overflow, I'm a massive fan of it. There are a few sneaky Maywall Sim-Telly strats that you can do from the little high ground where Newman is at the moment. You can teleport from that window pretty much all the way to the point. I'm wondering if they're going to go for something like that, but Newman is going to be able to scout that out really early, hopefully give his supports enough time to rotate around. And yeah, it's looking like a Sim-Telly onto the point, and into Uni is down very, very early.
We quick play now, boys. The Maywall to come out does block the D.Va out nicely. Team able to get on this objective, but Newman hops through that Maywall, doesn't care about it. Rest of the team need to get in here. Already finding themselves a tick nicely. And the pressure is on. The spin to win, having some output, which is kind of crazy. There's the May, though. A good counter for Wrecking Ball. Hellfire, though, comes in hot, finds both supports now. And it's Max with the bubble. Not going to last. As soon as that bubble falls, they get taken out. And the May not lasting much longer after that.
No, I respect that decision to go for that. Because if you go back to Overflow's first offense, it took them a decent chunk of time to clunk through that, and they only have a minute. And they really had to try something different. Or they do manage to get a contest, but they had to try something different. And it just doesn't look like it's working out. Mytheon Strix is holding very, very strong. Hellfire is raining in the Justice from above.
There it is, another one. He gets the double kill. Lucio jumps on, but just to get picked up. They've got no one to contest it with the team kill to finish it off.
And Overflow remain victoryless throughout this stage of AOL, and it's not the nicest outcome for them, but you cannot really say that it was unexpected. And they didn't play terribly. That's something that I want to make very, very clear. They didn't play dreadfully at all. They played pretty well, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. Really enjoyable series to watch there, Stranger.
Yeah, that was some really awesome play by Strix. I mean, Overflow, they even managed to pull out some great stuff throughout the game. There were moments where they just had glorious stuff, but in the end, Strix just had the sustain. They had what it took to win the fight. So yeah, I mean, great stuff from them. It is unfortunate for Overflow. I do feel bad for them, but maybe next season they'll switch up divisions perhaps and have some different opponents to let themselves train a little bit more. And I mean, Strix is a very, very good team. So and getting their star player as well, Tilt Queen, back in, maybe that made all the difference in the end. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it was a solid play all around from Strix, and Overflow did not play badly at all. They had some really shining moments where I thought that they could have taken this series the distance, but at the end of the day, Mytheon was just a little bit more clutch when it really came down to it. Those fights that were just a little bit could go either way. A lot of the time they went to Mytheon, and that is the big factor in a team. Like when the fights just become so scrappy, having a confident caller that can lead you through those fights is just such a valuable asset to a team. And I think that usually goes down to the main tank, which is Newman, who, in my opinion, is player of the match. I think
for
you'd
sure.
probably agree with me. There's an absolute menace on the Wrecking Ball there. It's so hard to deal with. Looked like he had minefield every single fight. There's just really solid play all around from him.
Yeah, great management of the ult. Good time building it up. Always, like you say, almost every fight having it efficient and the use almost every single time. Very efficient, had a purpose, was in the right place. Just great harass throughout the matches. Definitely the player for tonight, I'd have to say.
Yeah, unless you have anything to add, Stranger, I think that's a wrap on tonight's match.
I think so, my friend. Well, guys.
Thank you very much for watching, and just another quick shout out to our sponsor, My Republic Gamer, for making this all possible. Very greatly appreciated on this side.
Yeah, visit myrepublic.net, guys, if you want to see what's going on over there. Well, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll remember this is the final week. Make sure if you want to get involved and be on these matches, check out the links below. Get ready because the next season is going to start on the 19th of September. So you want to get yourself sorted out and in those matches. So anyway, I've been Stranger. Tonight joining me was Nikki. And thank you for everything. Have a great night, folks. See you later.